Hi, this is Mr. Warden. I'm going to talk a little bit about Chapter 10.3, which is about something called an arc. Now, an arc is drawn here. You can see it's this curved thing, and you see the center. And what you want to think about an arc is it's a portion of the points, a continuous portion of the points of a circle. Remember, the points of a circle are all the points that are the same distance from a center point. And so an arc is a piece of those points. So you can have an arc. It consists of 2 points in the circle, and all the points that are on the circle that connect those 2 points. And all those points are going to be the same distance from the center, just as all the other points on the circle will be the same distance from the circle. This here is called a minor arc. It's less than 180 degrees. This one is a major arc, and it's more than 180 degrees. And this one appears to be a semicircle or a semi-arc. So let's actually talk about some of the key distinctions about arcs. So first of all, I've noted that the center of the circle, the center of the circle is the same as the center of the arc. Center of an arc is the center of the circle. And then there's an angle that is swept out by an arc, and that angle has its vertex right here at the center of the circle. And it sweeps out the arc, and the number of degrees of that angle is going to be the same as the number of degrees of that arc. Okay, so the central angle right here is the angle whose vertex is at the center of the circle. Okay, so that's the central angle. Now, there's a minor arc I mentioned before and a major arc. So a minor arc is going to be the points that are on or between the sides of that central angle. And you might infer from that central angles are generally thought of as less than 180 degrees. So this is a minor arc. It's less than 180 degrees swept out by this central angle. A major arc would be the other side, basically the part that is more than 180 degrees. And so we'll be considering both of those. And then here we have a semicircle, which is an arc that has its endpoints on a diameter. Okay, so it is 1/2 of a circle. Semi means 1/2. Okay. So those are some key ideas about arcs. All right, now we're going to get some symbols that you're going to start seeing. Since an arc is a curvy thing, we will use this symbol right here for an arc. So where a segment would have a little segment over the 2 letters at its endpoints, an arc is going to have this shape, this little curve. Right over. No, it looks like a sad face. At any rate, it has, or maybe a blobfish. At any rate, it has this little curve over it. So we would name arc AB. So the minor arc AB would be AB with this little curve over it. Okay, so when we refer to the arc, we are talking about it as the minor arc. Okay, so if there's a major arc, we're going to put a third point into it to make sure we know that we're going all the way around more than 180 degrees. So right here, this AB is the shortest curved distance around the circle. It's all the points between A and B the short way. If I call it AXB, that helps us know that we're including point X or some other point on the arc. So we're using the major arc. So that's going to be the major arc. Okay, other things to note about arcs. As I've mentioned, the measure of the central angle is going to match the measure of the arc. So if I've got a 120 degree arc, I've got a 120 degree central angle that is swept out by that arc. The measure of the major arc is going to be, since it is more than 180 degrees, it's going to be 360 degrees in a circle minus the measure of the minor arc. Okay, so the major arc is 360 minus the measure of the minor arc right there. Okay, so if this minor arc is 20 degrees, arc AB is 20 degrees, the major arc ACB is going to be 360 minus 20, which will be 340. Okay, and then you can also work the other way, of course, but let's say we have minor arc 110, we'd subtract 110 from 360 to get arc XDY. 360 minus 110 is going to be 250 degrees. And notice, once again, that is more than 180 degrees for a major arc. All right, and the next piece is going to be some theorems. So I'm going to pause on that because I've done a video on definitions. My next video will be a bit more about theorems. Well, there is one more definition here to discuss, which is that we understand that two arcs are congruent when they have the same measure and are in the same or congruent circles. So these two arcs are in the same circle. They have 60 degrees each, and so we consider them congruent because they're in the same circle. Notice that congruent has same in all measure, and one of the measures of the points on an arc is their distance from the center of the circle. So all these points have the same distance from the center, and they sweep out the same number of degrees, and therefore they have the exact same shape and size. If we have two congruent circles, we can also have congruent arcs that have the same number of degrees swept out, and the other thing that makes them congruent is that they are the same distance from their respective centers. I'm going to stop this video and do another one about the several theorems about arcs, which are all largely one theorem broken into little pieces. So don't get overwhelmed by it. I hope this was helpful as an introduction to arcs. Actually, let me just leave with this nice little diagram. Central angle, major arc, minor arc, and you might notice that we can make chords with the endpoints of the arc as well, and those are going to relate to each other in the next part.